Hello, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 34 of Uncovering the Corners of the World podcast. I'm your host, Karina Kasmala. We're starting off this week talking about Tennessee with one of my best friends, Cassidy Stephenson. Cassidy Stephenson recently graduated with a communication degree and considers herself a journalism and film enthusiast. She co-hosts the podcast The Com-rades with Daniel, Jeremy, and Maddie, where they analyze films and TV shows. Cassidy is also the director and producer of a student documentary film titled Who Tells Your Story? I got a chance to talk with her about the hidden secrets of Tennessee that not all tourists might realize exist. On this week's episode, we talked about two main places in Tennessee, Pigeon Forge and Nashville. Within Pigeon Forge, Cassidy shared stories about the amusement park named Dollywood, the underground waterfall called Ruby Falls, Lookout Mountain where the attraction Rock City is, and the Titanic Museum. The Titanic Museum is located at 2134 Parkway in Pigeon Forge. We moved on to talking about Nashville, along with her recommendation for what the best food in Tennessee is, and explaining to me what a honky tonk is. In one of the stories that Cassidy shared with me, she mentioned our friend Nicole, who visited her 2 years ago in Tennessee and who was equally as confused as I was when trying to figure out what a honky tonk is. What's in Pigeon Forge?
Okay, so Pigeon Forge is a giant tourist trap. I'm trying to think of an equivalent tourist trap. Think of the Bean, but like a whole street.
So like Navy Pier almost?
Like, take that, but like honky tonkify it. Because it's just very like, cowboy. Well, it's not as cowboy boot as Nashville. But in Pigeon Forge, it's just a giant. There's probably three go-kart places on one street. It's the home of Dollywood, Dolly Parton's theme park. I have been there, but I've only seen the outside and the inside of the medical tent.
What happened?
So I went with my mom and my brother and and I get there and we have to ride this like tram into it because it's very mountainy. And so we get there and I'm like, I don't feel good. I told my mom, I was like, I just don't feel good. And keep in mind, it was no cooler than 90 degrees.
Oh.
So I think I pass out easily in the heat a lot. And I just get to the medical tent and I just vomit everywhere. And I'm like, I can't do this. I don't remember if I paid admission or not. I think I did. And the people there, so nice. They gave me free souvenirs. I got a Dollywood shirt and a blow up animal. But yeah, my mom and brother rode the rides and I stayed in the medical tent. And what else? I've also been to Ruby Falls a couple of times. And Ruby Falls is this giant, it's the deepest underground waterfall open to the public in the United States. And so it's very pretty. They have lights you take this elevator down and it's just very slippery. They shine lights at the waterfall. I think they sometimes do light shows if I'm not mistaken, but it's cool. The other place that they kind of do a deal, they have a lot of tourist packages. Rock City is just this giant it's basically a rock park. And
is it all else. Right by Dollywood? Or is
yes. Yeah. Okay. It's all in the Pigeon Forge area. And I don't even know. So they have a bunch of trails and there's just Eye of the Needle thing where you have to fit through these rocks that are really close together. And it's Pigeon Forge is kind of near Chattanooga, which is probably 2.5 hours away from me. And they have a Lookout Mountain. A lot of people actually get engaged on it because it's called Lovers Leap, maybe? I don't quote me. But yeah, I know there's something about Lookout. Oh, so when you're on top of Lookout Mountain, you can see 7 states because it touches 7 different states. They have like a little place where you can stand and what's also there. So also near I found the plaque. It's Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. Yeah, so you can see 7 different states.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Also near there is the Titanic Museum, which is pretty cool. So I had like a major obsession with Titanic when I was younger. And
To be
like
fair, that obsession has not passed,
it
correct?
hasn't. But it was huge when I was younger. I had a Titanic party for the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. And we dressed up in like 19, like, like 10s and 20s clothing. And it was crazy. So when you go there, I think it opened, it wasn't that long ago it opened. I think it opened in the past like 15 years. And so you go there and you get a a card, like kind of a brochure thing, and you get an identity of somebody who was on the Titanic. So you go through the museum and they have a water area where you can put your hand in and see how long you last in the water, of how cold it was when they were in the water and died. And then they also have in the Titanic movie where they have like a grand staircase. They
Right.
have that in there, and it's like a photo op, and we got a picture on our mantle somewhere. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then at the end of the tour, you find out if the person you got died or not.
So who was your person?
It was some girl, I think. See, I went probably like a year after it opened, so it was a long time ago. But I think my person died. I'm pretty sure.
What was like the best memory that you have of Pigeon Forge, and not when you got sick at Dollywood?
Um, the best memory, I think hmm. One time when my not to be depressing, but my parents are divorced, and my dad took my brother and I to Pigeon Forge and Rocks. We went to Ruby Falls, and I think I was wearing flip-flops, and I almost slipped because we're in an underground cave, so that was pretty funny.
Oh no. Lesson learned. If you're going to
Yep.
Ruby Falls, don't wear flip-flops.
The thing I like about I don't like a lot of things about Tennessee, but like the thing I like about Tennessee is that it's kind of like separated. Like we have in the west you got Memphis, which is a whole different ballpark. In the middle you got Nashville, which is entirely different. And then the east you got like Knoxville and Gatlinburg, which is like entirely different. But yep, I've been to Memphis once. I enjoyed it. We didn't go to a lot of places. We were on the outside of Graceland, Elvis Presley's home.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, we saw the wall, and we just weren't
What wall?
interested. There's like a wall in front of his home that people sign. I think we did sign it. So yeah, there's a bunch of names on it, but we weren't interested enough in Elvis Presley to pay that kind of money. So we were like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, Nashville, I mean, we have some stuff. If you like country music, then like that's the place for you. But like I don't I'm the only one, I've born and raised in Tennessee, but I'm the only one, except for like my brother, that has spent their entire life here. Like all my family are from Chicago. So I don't like country.
I was waiting for that moment that you're gonna say, I don't like country music.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, it's coming.
Oh, it's coming. We have a Johnny Cash museum. We have a country music hall of fame.
What is like the typical food that everyone who goes to Tennessee should try? Like this is
Okay.
the best food that's in Tennessee.
So if you're going to Tennessee, you have to get, specifically if you're going to Nashville, you have to get Nashville hot chicken because nobody does chicken like Tennessee does. It's great. What apparently I don't like spicy food. So apparently it's great.
Wait, so you've never tried it?
I don't I get like really bad heartburn with spicy. So I'm like, I'll be there in spirit. If you say it's great, I'll say it's great.
Okay.
But I get the regular chicken, which is we also have really good barbecue. I've had that many times. Um we there's a lot of southern food to get, like your typical southern meal here, I would say for lunch is like fried chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes, and the best macaroni and cheese.
I'm really hungry right now. That sounds so good.
It's great. We have a restaurant. I know it's in a couple other southern states. But we have a restaurant called Cookout,
Yeah.
and it's basically really cheap. So for like $5, you get like a hamburger, two quesadillas, and a drink, and a chicken wrap, and everything's grilled, and
Oh,
it's amazing.
I should probably say this. I'm not sponsored by any
Oh yeah,
restaurant or anyone.
Cookout. It's okay. I know who manages Cookout. It's alright.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think it's one of my mom's students' parents. So we're chill. Cookout.
This is not a paid
Yeah.
sponsorship of any
But
restaurant.
if you're looking for anything,
Yes, but if you're in Tennessee,
go get
okay.
Cookout. But so we have this place called Honky Tonk Highway. And I remember saying it a bunch of times when Nicole and them were here, and I was like, "Oh, let's go to Honky Tonk Highway," and they're like, "Sure." And then on the drive back, so we went to a honk. Well, it wasn't really a honky tonk because people were under 21 at the time, so we couldn't go into like a real honky tonk.
What's
But
a honky tonk?
they had that exact question when they were driving back home from Tennessee. They were like, Cassidy kept saying honky tonk, but I'm not sure what that is still. So like a honky tonk is a bar that also has country music. It also can mean like they do dances there with like two-step and like not so much square dancing, I would say anymore, but like two-step is their main thing. So we went into a saloon, Nicole and them and I, and they wouldn't get down there, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's the only time I've been in one was that place, and apparently it's a fun scene. But as I said, I don't like country music, but the whole street of them, like Nashville has a big nightlife scene. Um, it's I like to call Honky Tonk as a yeehaw nightclub. That's what it is. And it's just boot stores and tourist souvenir shops and honky tonks and Luke Bryan's bar, and I think Miranda Lambert has a bar, and somebody else does too. Oh my gosh, what's his? I don't know. But
It's a
yeah,
tourist trap. That's what it is. It's a
yep.
tourist trap.
Jason Aldean has a bar there. Lake Shelton has a bar there. Let me see. I met Trace Adkins and oh my gosh. I met one of the people from Big and Rich, but I don't know if it was Big or Rich. I think it was Rich. Yeah, they were at the airport at the same time, so we met them. I didn't care, but I think that's the only really celebrity I've met. I think.
For now.
Yeah,
As
for
of
now.
now.
I'm pretty sure that's the only one. I don't know. But yeah.
I'd like to thank Cassidy for joining me on this week's episode, along with the listeners who tuned in to listen to this week's episode. Now, this is the first part of our Tennessee adventure. Part 2 is coming soon, and this time we dived into the haunted, paranormal side of Tennessee, enough to send chills down your spine. At least it did for me. Be on the lookout for part 2. In the meantime, be sure to check out the podcast, The Com-rades, available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great weekend.